From 1912 to 1915, Robert Frost lived in England. There, he developed a friendship with the poet Edward Thomas. Often they went out for walks. One day, as they were walking, they came across two roads diverging in different directions. Thomas was indecisive about which way to take. In 1915, when Frost returned to New Hampshire, he wrote the verses of The Road Not Taken, recounting this event. He sent the copy to Thomas, and it compelled him to get rid of his indecisiveness concerning other things of his life. The poem was first published in the August 1915 issue of the Atlantic Monthly. It was later published in Frost's poetry collection Mountain Interval in 1916 as its first poem. The Road Not Taken is an ambiguous poem that allows the reader to think about choices in life. If life is a journey, this poem highlights those times in life when a decision has to be made. The poem, having a perfect rhyme scheme, ABAAB, is an ambiguous poem that allows the readers to think about choices they make in life. The ambiguity springs from the question of free will versus determinism. External factors therefore make up his mind for him. Robert Frost wrote this poem to highlight a trait of and poke fun at his friend Edward Thomas, an English-Welsh poet who, when out walking with Frost in England, would often regret not having taken a different path. Thomas would sigh over what they might have seen and done, and Frost thought this quaintly romantic. It certainly made all the difference, but Frost does not make it clear just what this difference is. The main theme of The Road Not Taken is that it is often impossible to see where a life-altering decision will lead. Thus, one should make their decision swiftly and with confidence. It is normal to wonder what the outcome would have been if the other road, the road not taken, was the road chosen. But to contemplate this hypothetical deeply is folly, for it is impossible to say whether taking the other road would have been better or worse. All one can say is that it would have been different. The Road Not Taken suddenly presents the speaker and the reader with a dilemma. There are two roads in an autumnal wood separating off, presumably the result of the one road splitting, and there's nothing else to do but choose one of the roads and continue life's journey. The central message is that, in life, we are often presented with choices. When making a choice, one is required to make a decision. It becomes clear that we must choose one direction or another, but not both. In The Road Not Taken, Frost does not indicate whether the road he chose was the right one. Nonetheless, that is the way he is going now, and the place he ends up, for better or worse, was the result of his decision. This poem is not about taking the road less traveled, about individuality or uniqueness. This poem is about the road taken, to be sure, as well as the road not taken, not necessarily the road less traveled. Any person who has made a decisive choice will agree that it is human nature to contemplate the what if. This pondering about the different life one may have lived had they had done something differently is central to The Road Not Taken. The speaker opts at random for the other road, and once on it, declares himself happy because it has more grass and not many folk have been down it. Anyway, he could always return one day and try the original road again. Would that be possible? Perhaps not. Life has a way of letting one thing leading to another until going backwards is just no longer an option. But who knows what the future holds down the road? The speaker implies that when he's older, he might look back at this turning point in his life, the morning he took the road less traveled, because taking that particular route completely altered his way of being. This poem consists of 4 stanzas, each 5 lines in length, with a mix of iambic and anapestic tetrameter, producing a steady rhythmical 4-beat first-person narrative. Most common speech is a combination of iambs and anapests. So Frost chose his lines to reflect this. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. This simple-looking poem, mostly monosyllabic, has a traditional rhyme scheme of ABAAB, which helps keep the lines tight, whilst the use of enjambment, where one line runs into the other with no punctuation, keeps the sense flowing. The whole poem is an extended metaphor. The road is life and it diverges, that is, splits apart or forks. There is a decision to be made and a life will be changed, perhaps forever. Whilst this is a reflective, thoughtful poem, it's as if the speaker is caught in 2 minds. He's encountered a turning point. The situation is clear enough. Take one path or the other, black or white. But life is rarely that simple. We're human, and our thinking processes are always on the go, trying to work things out. You take the high road, I'll take the low road. Which is best? So the tone is meditative. As this person stands looking at the two options, he's weighing the pros and cons in a quite studied manner. The situation demands a serious approach, for who knows what the outcome will be. All the speaker knows is that he prefers the road less traveled, perhaps because he enjoys solitude and believes that to be important. Whatever the reason, once committed, he'll more than likely never look back. On reflection, however, taking the road because it was grassy and wanted wear has made all the difference in the world. Frost primarily makes use of metaphor. Other poetic devices include the rhythm in which he wrote the poem. Frost uses the road as a metaphor for life. He portrays our lives as a path we are walking along toward an undetermined destination. Then the poet reaches a fork in the road. The fork is a metaphor for a life-altering choice in which a compromise is not possible. The traveler must go one way or the other. The descriptions of each road, one bends under the undergrowth and the other is just as fair, indicates to the reader that when making a life-altering decision, it is impossible to see where that decision will lead. At the moment of decision-making, both roads present themselves equally, thus the choice of which to go down is essentially a toss-up game of chance. The metaphor is activated. Life offers two choices. Both are valid, but the outcomes could be vastly different, existentially speaking. Which road to take? The speaker is in two minds. He wants to travel both and is sorry he cannot, but this is physically impossible. The road itself symbolizes the journey of life, and the image of a road forking off into two paths symbolizes a choice. As for color, Frost describes the forest as a yellow wood. Yellow can be considered a middle color, something in between and unsure of itself. This sets the mood of indecision that characterizes the language of the poem. Frost also mentions the color black in the lines, and both the morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Clearly this is to emphasize that both roads appeared untouched, not having been tarnished by the foot of a previous traveler. The poet is the first to encounter this dilemma. The first road is described as bending into the undergrowth. The second road is described as just as fair, though it was grassy and wanted wear. At this, it seems the second road is overgrown and less traveled. But then the poet writes, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. So again, the roads are equalized. Yet, as if to confuse the reader, Frost writes in the final stanza, I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. With that, we are left to wonder how Frost knew the road he took was the one less traveled by. But Frost likely left this ambiguity on purpose so that the reader would not focus so much on condition of the road and instead focus on the fact that he chose a road, any road, whether it was that which was less traveled by or not, and that as a result, he has seen a change in his life. The expression of doubt runs in the poem from the first line until the last. The expression of uncertainty about choices and our natural tendency to summarize about consequences we may have to face marks the central point of the poem. However, what stays in the mind of the people is the philosophy of life and the dilemma of making choices. The poem comprises uncertainty and perplexing situation of the minds of people about what they may face when standing on the verge of making choices. It is because life is full of choices, and the choices we make define the whole course of our lives. The use of literary devices is intended to bring richness and clarity to the text with different meanings. The road not taken by Robert Frost is also filled with important undertones with the following literary devices. There are many metaphors in the poem, like road, fork in the road, and yellow woods. The road in the poem is a metaphor of life, while the fork on the road metaphorically represents the choices we make to determine the course of our lives. Similarly, yellow woods are the metaphor of making decisions during the hard times of a person's life. These metaphors used in this poem emphasize the importance of different decisions we make in different situations and their impacts on our lives. Imagery is used to make the readers feel things through their five senses. The poet has used images of the sense of sights, such as leaves, yellow woods, and these images help readers to actually perceive things they are reading. The image of the road helps readers to visualize the road, providing a navigation route to the traveler. There is one simile used in the second stanza as just as fair. It shows how the poet has linked the road less taken to the easy way through life. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds such as the sound of A and O in quick succession in though as far that the passing and in somewhere ages and ages hence. Consonance is the repetition of consonant sounds such as D in two roads diverging in a yellow wood and T sound in though as far as the passing there. Robert Frost has personified road in the third line of the second stanza. Here it is stated, because it was grassy and wanted wear, as if the road is human, and that it wants to wear and tear. Parallelism is the use of a source of words, phrases, or sentences that have similar grammatical forms. Frost has used parallelism in the poem such as, "And sorry I could not travel both, and be only one traveler along I stood, and I looked down once as far as I could." Concluding the literary devices, it can be argued that Robert Frost has beautifully used various literary devices to make the poem display multiplicity of interpretation, which has gained the poem much deserved popularity. Although most of the poetic devices are part of literary devices, some devices are not used in poems. The point to remember is that the road has been emphasized in that it is the choice that makes the road important for us. In other words, our preferences in life make us different from others. This poem also describes the mindset of the central character in metered verse. Besides, it is told from the first person point of view, so it's a lyric with a set rhyming and metrical scheme. The poem is titled "The Road Not Taken" for an interesting reason. In the poem, the road which is not taken by the speaker is the one that is interestingly similar to the other road he takes. The poet mentions the first road in the title for emphasizing the dominant thought of the speaker's mind. If there is only one road, there won't be any problem. As there are two options, he struggles to make a decision and suffers through prolonged indecisiveness. Even if he takes a path may be suitable for him, still he will be thinking of the other one. We often think in this pattern. So, the poet advises us not to be engrossed in such thoughts. The roads diverged in the woods. So it means that no matter what road the speaker takes, there will be a change in his life. It is up to him how he reacts to it. In a superficial reading, it may seem that the poet is appreciating the speaker's decision, but analyzing the text thoroughly will reveal that the speaker regrets the choice he makes even before its actual implementation. The poetic persona doubts if he should ever come back or not. If he takes a road, he has to follow wherever it takes. There will be ways that will lead him to other ways. Robert Frost chose the road less traveled as he had to make a decision. Otherwise, he would get stuck at that place forever. So, for the sake of continuing the journey of life, he took the other road, less traveled by. He might do better on that way, or it could prove futile. No matter what happened to him, he had to make a decision. In the process, he won't have enough time to return at this juncture and choose the road not taken. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you will enjoy my other video essays. Thank you for watching. Like this video if you liked it. My name is Sai, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.